Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. If you're new to our podcast, welcome. You're definitely in the right place if you want to create new habits and master healthy change in your life. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. I'm Alyssa Bigelman, and I'm here to go on this journey with you into creating new habits and looking for change. Today, as part of our Living Your Healthy Sweet Life series, we are launching episode 3, Mindfulness and What Triggers Cravings.
Okay, hello Alyssa. I am so glad to be with you here again, and welcome to everybody. Welcome to our new podcast series, first ever, but this is episode 3. As Alyssa has just said, it's about living your healthy, sweet life. And, so many people have come to me and talked with me about the frustrations they have with trying to make change happen. And it just seems so hard. And that's why I decided to start this podcast series on habit change and how to make better choices. It's and also seeing so many people very stressed. It's really hard to make better choices and change a habit when we're just, up to here with stress. So that's why much of our series is really aimed at helping you reduce your stress so that you can make change happen in your life. So the thing is, though, we have a huge problem in our country. I mean, it is so huge that half of American adults have a diet or nutrition-related health condition, and it's preventable. I mean, if we could just make those changes we want to make and make the better choices, we'd be so much healthier. I'm Kay Loughrey. I am the owner and CEO of Sweet Life Wellness, and I'm a registered dietitian-nutritionist and healthy eating coach with 30 plus years of experience helping people with their health. And I help people with habit change. And most of all, I help people build a healthy relationship with food. And I sure had to start with myself. And that's because when I was 8 years old, I started eating. And the thing was, though, it wasn't eating. I was hiding. I was hiding because something bad had happened to me. And, when something goes wrong, we want to fix it. And I was fixing it with food. And the food I was fixing it with were my mom's pies, cakes, and cookies that she made. And so I was hiding, soothing myself from food with food. And, just an example, one afternoon, maybe Saturday afternoon, I walked in to look into the kitchen. I saw my mom pouring those chocolate chips into a bowl and dropping the cookies. And then I knew that chocolate chip cookies were on the way. And soon I could smell the sweet aroma of brown sugar, the melted chocolate, and the butter. And I was in seventh heaven because my mom made the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. And when she took them out of the oven, set them out, I would look down and pick one, put it in my mouth, and just be again in heaven, tasting that soft, slightly chewy, sweet chocolate chip cookie. And that's how I knew my mom loved me. But yet it didn't really protect me, and it isolated me. And I didn't have the relationships I wanted to have. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have the relationship I wanted to have with my mother. And really the thing is that food became a substitute for me for relationships. And so that's where I began this game of hide and seek. And wondering if any of you might have played a game of hide and seek when you were a kid. Probably quite a few of us. And I was so good at it that I kept it up for decades. And literally, it affected all of my relationships. And then when I finally got married, I was still playing hide and seek. And I didn't have a great relationship with my husband because I was hiding. And finally, we were at the point where something had to change. I thought the marriage was going to end, but I finally figured out that I needed help, and I got help, and I found a coach. I found someone to help me figure out why I was making those choices and what I could do to appreciate who I really was and look in the mirror and love who I saw. And so that's how I turned my life around and was able to make better choices and help other people make better choices too. And so what I learned from all this was that I could change my life. And I'm here to tell you that you can change your life too, and change is available to you. That's why we're here today, actually, is help you to bring that change into your life. We're going to show you the techniques so you can make better choices and have a healthier life. So that's what we are all about. So we're going to get started. Um, in just a moment. We are going to dive right in and we're going to use mindfulness. And mindfulness is so helpful because it helps us tune into where we are in the moment and feel less stress so we could actually make those changes happen. And I want to share with you this wonderful quote by one of my favorite quotes by the former Surgeon General, and he is a mental health advocate. His name is Vivek Murthy. And what he said, what he wrote really was that the world is locked in a struggle between love and fear. Choose love always. It's the world's oldest medicine. I mean, how inspiring. So let's go ahead and, we're going to get started so that you can learn these techniques we have for you today.
Yes, thank you, Kay. Thank you for setting the stage. And so let's go ahead and dive right into our topic today about mindfulness and what triggers people's cravings.
Yeah, that's great. By all means, yes. So, are you one of the people who wishes that you could stop eating when you're not even hungry? And Ron was one of those people when he came to see me, started working with me, and he told me this story. Like, well, yesterday, I had meeting after meeting after meeting. By mid afternoon, we're all working at home because of COVID-19. So he came upstairs and opened the kitchen, the refrigerator in the kitchen, and he saw some tortellini, pasta sauce. He pulled it out and ate all of it. And then he said, "Why did I do that? I didn't even want it." So, if you're like Ron, maybe sometimes you've eaten mindlessly, and maybe and probably it is because of stress. And it illustrates, the need to be patient, to be present in the moment and catch ourselves before we open that refrigerator door and eat something that we don't even want to eat. So, what are your triggers and what are your cravings? And how do you soothe yourself with food or something else? So, let's look at how you can become more aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So, lots of things can trigger cravings. Like we see, kitchen counter, we see a whole bag of cookies. Or your husband brings home or boyfriend brings home a whole big pizza and you had no idea he was going to bring it home and you didn't really even want it. So it's very easy to respond to mindlessly. So let me just see here where I am for a moment. Let me just give me just a second. Yes, here we are. So the thing is that today we want to be focusing on emotional inner triggers. So you can help you make the best choice and help you not do those things that you don't want to do when you feel stressed.
It's interesting that you ask that because I know for myself, when I'm having a long day or I'm stressed, all I can really think about doing is, surrounding myself by snacks and going and cuddling on the couch and just decompressing. And it happens and I'm not even hungry. It's just like the go-to comfort. And it's this story and everything reminds me exactly of how, I feel like I, you know, react to stressors in my life. And I know that doesn't have to be the way.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so easy to do. And, really, we've all done it. I mean, people get triggered, they have cravings, they do, they soothe themselves with something. It might be food, but it might be cigarettes, it might be drugs, alcohol, or even something else.
Yeah. So how can I and we, whoever's on this journey with us, learn to not use food as our comfort when, we're having a hard day or a hard time?
Yeah, so let's dig into that. And so after we're triggered in a moment, these cravings take hold like in a nanosecond, because what happens is a stress response. It's like that fight, flight, or freeze response. And that's a very quick response. So, what we really need to do is be able to turn that into a relaxation response so that we have a chance to make a better choice. So, that's how you do it. And when we're triggered and have a craving, that's why we need to be conscious in the moment. That is being mindful to make that better choice. But how do you do that? And that's what we want to show you today, how to interrupt a craving. So let's say you have a craving, and before you reach for that tortellini or something else to soothe yourself, can you, and this is what we're recommending, press the pause button and take a few deep, long breaths. And that will help you elicit that relaxation response we're talking about. And then you won't be like freaked out. Then you have a chance to calmly ask yourself a few questions. So you won't jump into eating or drinking, asking yourself these three things. And the first one is, what is the trigger? What's the situation that's caused this craving? An angry boss, somebody yelling at me, a threatening person looking, walking down the street toward me. What am I feeling? Scared if it's an angry person walking towards me. And third, what is it that I really want? What is it that I'm really hungry for? In this case, it might be to be safe, physically safe from somebody who looks like maybe they would mug us. So that's what the setup is, so for us to be able to make better choices. And as Carl Jung once wrote, your vision will be clear when you look into your own heart. Beautiful. And so when Karen first came to see me, she was telling me that she was a safety officer in a company. It was a very important role. And she was really happy. She was really happy and well established in her career. And she had a husband, a teenage daughter, and she made dinner for them when she came home each night. Um, After dinner, her daughter and her husband went their separate ways, and she was sitting there by herself. And she wanted someone to talk with, and she didn't have that. So she drank 3 or 4 heavy beers and then ate a bag of chips and a bowl of ice cream sitting in front of the TV. I mean, did she want to do that? No, she didn't want to do that. She wanted to lose a big chunk out of that 100 pounds that she gained since she's gotten married. But she knew she had to change, but she didn't know how to do it. And that's why she came to see me. So we did an assessment, we figured out what to do, and we used a special mindfulness tool that I created to help her disrupt that evening eating. So just like we just mentioned, hang on a second, I'll look at my notes. So as part of this tool, we asked her about what the trigger was. The trigger was she was left alone. And what was she feeling? She was feeling stressed after a hard day's work. and lonely. And what did she really want? She wanted somebody to talk with. It wasn't really that she wanted to drink a lot of beer, eat chips and ice cream. That just made her disappointed in herself. So she learned how to give herself what she wanted. She lost 20 pounds. She got off of blood pressure medication. And now she has a healthier relationship with food.
Wow, that's truly amazing.
It really is. And as a result of our work together, Karen had a great insight about what was causing her eating, and she mastered how to make better choices. A famous Japanese author, Haruki Murakami, once wrote, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional." Optional? Really? You mean we have a choice about whether to suffer? Yes, we do have a choice. And I watched my mom make thousands of cookies and hundreds of pies and everything else. And you know what? I found out later that my mom was also hiding behind food. But the thing is, my mom never told me that she loved me. And what is one thing that every child wants to hear from their mom? The words, "I love you," right? And I never heard that. And I needed to hear that. And so when I went to see my coach, one of the things that we touched on was what was behind the choices that I was making. And, I don't know why my mom was making the choices that she was making, but I will tell you this. As long as I have a breath to take, and as long as I can speak, and as long as I can help people make healthier choices and lose the weight that they want to lose and have the energy that they want to have and live the sweet life that we all are gifted to live, I will do what I am doing to share with people like you. And so, how about this? No more hide and seek. No more avoiding the changes we want to make. It's time to make a stand for ourselves. You can change your life. And we've shown you some steps in these first 3 podcast episodes. And we are also, besides each episode, we're offering you some additional resources so you can put what we've shared with you into action, because action is what makes the difference between change and no change. And sure, we're going to make mistakes along the way, but taking action is really the first step. So I want to thank you for listening. And Alyssa, can you tell us a little bit more about these resources and how we can access them?
Yes, I will. And thank you all for joining us for episode 3. As part of this episode and every episode that you join us for, there's a meditation and a PDF workbook to go along with it to put what you're hearing today into action. As always, you can call Kay and set up a meeting with yourself to talk with her and discuss how you can take exactly what we're talking about here and put that into your own life. And you can look for her number on the Sweet Life Wellness homepage, and that's at sweetlifewellness.com. Just a reminder, each podcast does build upon itself. And so it's best if you start from the first episode and go through them in order so that you're learning each step of the way and can take many action steps to go through this journey. And if you want to make these podcasts your springboard for change, join us each week. We'll release a new episode at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday mornings. Thank you, and please join us for episode 4 on mindfulness and making better choices.